The blackness of space was silent, the kind of silence that made even stars look nervous. The Earth fleet hung there, hundreds of ships waiting beyond Mars' orbit. Their hulls reflected pale sunlight, sharp and metallic. They were ready, but no one really wanted to be the one to start the war. Captain Alina Ross stood on the bridge of the Un's Vengeance, humanity's largest battleship. Her eyes were fixed on the holographic map. The alien fleet was there. The Vretek Dominion, a race that believed humans were an accident of evolution that should never have left their home planet. The radio channels were filled with static. Negotiations had failed 2 days ago. The aliens had sent their last message. Surrender, Earth. You are not fit to rule the stars. Alina remembered the silence in the command room after that. No one spoke. Then Admiral Kessler simply said, "They fired first last time. We will not let it happen again." Now she could see the enemy ships closing in. Sleek, curved designs. Beautiful and deadly. The Vretek didn't use missiles. They used energy weapons that could cut a cruiser in half, Captain, said her first officer. Lieutenant Kai Nakamura, Vretek ships are locking on. They're charging weapons. Lena didn't flinch. Raise shields. Prepare for evasive pattern Delta. The moment stretched, and then light. A beam of red plasma shot from the lead alien ship. It crossed the void and slammed into the human destroyer horizon. The explosion bloomed like a small sun. The ship was gone in seconds. The bridge of the Vengeance shook as the shockwave hit. Officers stumbled, alarms screamed. Someone shouted, "Horizon destroyed." 200 crew lost. Elena's eyes burned. The first shot had been fired, and it wasn't by humans. "Return fire?" asked Nakamura. She didn't answer immediately. Her hand hovered over the control panel, her reflection staring back at her in the glass. Humanity had seen wars before, on Earth, on the Moon, even in the Belt. But never like this. Never against something that truly wanted them extinct. Alina whispered, "They fired first." Then she straightened her back. Her voice became steel. "Target the flagship. Bring the railgun online." "At!" The crew froze for a second. The Railgun Gauss Cannon Mark IV was humanity's most powerful weapon, a planet defense gun refitted onto a battleship. It was so powerful that firing it could tear the ship's hull, if not done carefully. Power levels surged. The ship's reactors roared. The crew could feel the deck vibrating under their feet as magnetic coils aligned. "Railgun charged at 70%, said the weapons officer. "Target locked." Lena watched the hologram. The alien flagship Verkala was huge, like a floating cathedral of metal and blue fire. Thousands of lives were aboard it. She thought of the horizon, of its 200 souls. Her jaw tightened. "Fire," she said. The railgun discharged with a soundless flash. The kinetic slug, a tungsten rod the size of a car, accelerated to several kilometers per second. Space itself seemed to tremble. A few seconds later, the Verkala vanished in a burst of white light. The bridge went silent. No one moved. The alien flagship was gone. Destroyed in one shot. Then the sensors began to scream, dozens of enemy ships turning toward them. The Vretek had just realized what humanity was capable of. Nakamura whispered, "They're coming, Captain." "All of them." Elena didn't blink. "Good," she said. "Let them come." Humanity just answered. In the alien fleet, chaos spread. Their commanders couldn't believe it. A single human weapon had vaporized their most powerful ship. They called humans savages, primitives, yet in that moment, fear touched every alien heart. Across human communication channels, ships were cheering. For the first time, they believed they could win. But in the back of her mind, Captain Ross knew this was just the beginning. The Vretek wouldn't stop. They would come with everything they had, and Earth would have to survive what was coming next. She looked out into the black sea of stars. "This war," she murmured, "will decide who deserves the galaxy." Outside, the wreckage of the alien flagship drifted silently, glowing faintly, a monument to the moment humanity stopped running and fought back. The railgun's echo faded into the endless dark. For a moment, space itself felt still, as if the universe held its breath. The Vraytech flagship was gone. Nothing but drifting metal, glowing embers, and frozen bodies. Every human ship watching had seen it happen. The impossible done by humanity's hand. On the Un's vengeance, cheers had filled the bridge. Officers hugged, laughed, shouted. But Captain Alina Ross did not celebrate. She stood silent, eyes locked on the holographic display. Watching the alien fleet regroup, Lieutenant Nakamura approached, trying to hide his smile. "Captain, we actually did it." "One shot," Lena nodded slowly. "Yes, but the Vraytech won't forgive this." As if to prove her right, alarms started blaring. Dozens of red marks appeared on the map. The alien fleet was moving fast. "Multiple energy readings," said the sensor officer. "They're charging everything they've got." Alina clenched her fists. "Brace for impact." Second later, the stars turned white. Dozens of plasma lances crossed the void, slamming into the human formation. The destroyer Atlas broke apart instantly. Resolute, lost power, and drifted burning. The bridge shook violently. Sparks flew from the ceiling. The crew ducked, trying to stay at their posts. Shields down to 40%. Someone shouted, "Starboard guns offline?" Alina grabbed the console to steady herself. "Return fire. Focus on their cruisers. Keep them off our flank." The Vengeance fired back, rail cannons, missiles, and pulse lasers lighting up the dark. But there were too many of them. The Viatech ships moved like predators in formation. Cutting through the defense line, human ships were exploding one by one. The fleet's victory moment had turned into chaos. Admiral Kessler's ship is hit. Signal from horizon to lost. Medical ships requesting escort. Elena's heart pounded. She could feel fear trying to break into her mind, but she didn't let it. "Hold the line," she ordered. "We don't retreat. Not today." Outside, the railgun on the Vengeance began to charge again, its coils glowing faint blue. The vibration filled the bridge, like the growl of a beast waking up. But before they could fire, an explosion rocked the ship. The entire deck shook, throwing officers to the floor. Engineering hit. Nakamura yelled, "We've lost coolant control." "Seal the lower decks," Alina said quickly. "Keep the power lines stable." Through the smoke, the communication officer raised his voice. "Incoming message from the alien fleet." Lena's expression hardened. "Put it on screen." The display flickered, and then the face of a Veritech commander appeared. His scaled skin shimmered with violet light, his eyes cold and bright. "Human," he hissed, "you have destroyed a holy vessel of the Dominion. You have brought death upon your species. There will be no surrender, no mercy. Every world you claim will burn." Lena stared at him calmly. "You fired first." "We only answered." The alien's jaw tightened. "Then you will die second." The screen went dark. Silence followed. The bridge crew stared at their captain, waiting. Alina spoke softly, but her voice carried across the room. "Then we'll make sure they remember us before we do." She turned to the weapons officer. "Charge the railgun again. Target their command ship." "Captain, if we fire again now, the reactor might overload," Nakamura warned. "I know," she said. "Do it anyway." The ship trembled as power rerouted through every system. Lights dimmed. The temperature rose. The railgun coils began to glow white. The Vraytech fleet noticed. They started spreading out, trying to avoid the line of fire. But it was too late. Fire. The second shot roared across the battlefield, a streak of light cutting through the dark. It hit the enemy command cruiser dead center. The explosion was so bright it blinded sensors for several seconds. When vision returned, half the alien formation was breaking off, disoriented. Their command was gone again, but so was the Vengeance's power. The ship went dark. Systems offline. Smoke filled the bridge. The emergency lights flickered red. Nakamura coughed, voice shaking. "Reactors in overload. We can't take another hit." Lena looked around at her battered crew. The victory felt heavy now, almost painful. They had survived for the moment, but at a terrible cost. Through the viewport, she saw debris from both fleets floating, a silent graveyard of steel and bodies. "This is just the start," she whispered. "They'll come again, stronger, and we'll have to be ready." The stars outside seemed cold, watching humanity's first true space war begin, and somewhere in the darkness beyond the battlefield, the rest of the Galactic Armada was already on its way. The On's vengeance drifted in silence. Smoke filled the corridors, wires hung loose, and the once bright lights now flickered weakly. The crew worked in near darkness, patching systems with whatever they could find. The second railgun shot had saved them, but almost killed them too. Captain Alina Ross stood near the shattered viewport, watching the debris field. The battle was over for now, but she knew it was only a pause. The real storm was still coming. Her comms crackled. "Captain, this is Admiral Kessler aboard the UN's Dauntless. We've lost nearly half the fleet. 27 ships destroyed, 53 damaged. No contact from Resolute or Pathfinder." Alina took a deep breath. "Understood, Admiral. The Vengeance is crippled, but stable. Railgun offline. Life support holding." Kessler's voice came low and tired. "You gave them hell, Captain." "The aliens didn't expect that kind of punch." Lena looked out at the floating wrecks. "And neither did we. But we can't rely on one weapon forever." There was a pause before Kessler answered. "Agreed. We'll regroup at Titan Base. The fleet needs repairs, and so do our people. Prepare to jump in 10 minutes. The transmission ended. Alina exhaled slowly and turned to her crew. "You heard him? Get us ready for jump. Priority is stabilizing the reactor." Lieutenant Nakamura was already moving from console to console. "Captain, but sensors picked up something strange in the debris metal fragments not matching any known Vratech design." Alina raised a brow. "Show me." The holographic display flickered to life. Among the wreckage was a large, black structure, silent and cold. Its surface glowed faintly, like it was alive. "That's not theirs," Nakamura said quietly. "It's older." Before Alina could reply, the science officer spoke. "We're getting a weak signal from it. Some kind of repeating pulse." "It's human code, Captain?"
Out.
Everyone froze. "That's impossible," Alina said. "There were no human ships out here before the fleet arrived."
Ow.
The officer shook his head. "Signal pattern matches early 21st century encryption. It's definitely human origin." The bridge went silent except for the soft hum of failing systems. Alina stared at the object. "Prepare a probe. I want full scans before we leave." An hour later, deep inside the black structure, the probe's camera sent back images that made every officer on the Vengeance stop breathing for a second. It wasn't alien. It was ancient human technology, a satellite, massive in size, covered in strange energy emitters. The nameplate, though faded, was still visible. "Project Helios, Earth Defense Initiative." Nakamura frowned. "Captain, this thing predates interstellar travel. It's over 200 years old. But it's still active." Alina leaned forward. "A relic from Earth's past. And it's here? In Vertec territory?" The science officer's voice shook. "Captain, if the aliens found this before us, maybe that's why they fired first." Alina turned sharply. "Explain." "Helios could be a prototype rail weapon, orbital defense system from old Earth. If they detected its energy signature, they might have thought we were preparing to attack." The room fell into tense silence for the first time. Alina felt a weight in her chest that wasn't anger. It was doubt. Had humanity triggered the war without knowing it? Before she could think further, alarms blared again. Incoming contacts? Multiple Vratech ships, small, fast. The bridge lit up red. "Defensive systems, still down." Shouted Nakamura, "Evade." "Evade," Alina barked. Outside, 3 alien fighters swooped through the debris, their plasma fire slashing the darkness. The Vengeance lurched as another blast tore across its side. Minor hull breach. Section B sealed. The old human satellite Project Helios began to glow brighter, reacting to the chaos around it. "Captain," the science officer said, voice trembling, "the Helios satellite is powering up. On the screen, arcs of blue light crawled over its surface, building energy. The pulse grew stronger, and then it fired. A beam of light sliced across space, vaporizing all three Vertex ships instantly. Silence followed. No one spoke. Alina stared at the display. "That thing just saved us," Nakamura whispered. "It's 2 centuries old, and it's still fighting for humanity." The beam faded, leaving only the dead silence of space once more. Alina turned to her crew. "Mark its coordinates. We're coming back for it." She looked out the viewport, voice low but steady. "If this was built by our ancestors, maybe they knew something we didn't. Maybe this war isn't new. Maybe it's just restarting." The Vengeance turned slowly toward Titan Base, its engines flickering back to life. Behind them, Project Helios drifted quietly, its sensors awakening, scanning the stars, searching for threats, and somewhere, deep within its ancient code, a single line flashed. Protocol: humanity must survive. The stars over Titan Base were cold and distant. Below them, the battered remains of the human fleet floated in orbit. Ships scarred, engines broken, hulls scorched. But they were alive. Humanity had survived its first true space battle. Captain Alina Ross stood in the command center, watching engineers swarm around the UN's Vengeance. The massive battleship was half torn apart, but still standing. She felt proud and tired. Admiral Kessler entered the room, his uniform dusty and his face lined with exhaustion. "Ross, your ship held the line," he said. "That railgun strike saved the fleet. But we need to talk about what your crew found afterward." Alina nodded. "Project Helios." Kessler crossed his arms. "The relic you discovered isn't just some defense satellite. The scientists here at Titan Base analyzed its signal. It's transmitting coordinates, hundreds of them all across human space." "Coordinates to what?" Kessler looked uneasy. "Other weapons. Hidden stations. Whatever Helios is, it's part of something bigger." Lena frowned. "We've been sitting on ancient weapons for centuries and never knew." "Apparently," Kessler said. "But here's the part that worries me. The activation code Helios used wasn't triggered by us. It woke up by itself, minutes before it fired that beam." The room went silent. Alina stared at him. "You mean it was waiting?" Kessler nodded slowly. "Waiting for a threat to humanity." Later that night, Alina walked through the observation deck. The gas giant Titan floated below, glowing softly in the dark. She couldn't stop thinking about the satellite. It had destroyed 3 alien ships with impossible precision, like it knew who the enemy was. But how could a 200-year-old machine still think, still decide? Lieutenant Nakamura joined her quietly. "Captain, I just finished reviewing the Helios data logs." "What did you find?" "There's a secondary file inside the transmission. A voice recording. Dated 2174. He tapped a small hollow projector, and an old voice filled the room. Rough, human, full of static. If you're hearing this, it means Earth is under threat again. We built Helios not to destroy, but to remember. We knew someday the stars would come for us. So we left behind Guardians machines that would wake when humanity needed them most." The message ended. Alina stood still. "They built weapons to protect us. Even after death," Nakamura nodded. "There are more, Captain. The data shows one near Epsilon Eridani, another near the Luna Gate, and something deep beyond human space. A massive one codenamed Prometheus." Lena turned toward him. "Prometheus?" "Yes, ma'am. Its power output is 10 times Helios, but it's been offline for centuries." Before she could reply, the base alarms went off. The deck lights turned red. Admiral Kessler to all ships. "We've got Vratex signatures inbound at least a dozen war cruisers. They've tracked us." Elena's pulse quickened. "They're coming here?" Nakamura nodded. "Straight for Titan Base." Elena hit the comms. "Bridge, prepare the Vengeance for launch. Get whatever systems are online. We're not sitting ducks." Within minutes, the hangar bay filled with chaos. Mechanics rushed to load ammo. Engineers patched leaking coolant lines. and soldiers scrambled aboard transports. The Vengeance's engines flared to life, coughing smoke but burning bright. The railgun was still offline, but Elena didn't need it yet. From the observation deck, she watched as the first alien ships appeared from warped dark shapes with glowing blue cores. The Vrytek were coming hard, and they wanted revenge. Admiral Kessler's voice thundered across the comms. All ships defensive formation. Protect the base at all costs. Explosions lit up the void as plasma fire rained down. Human ships fired back, but they were outnumbered 3-1. The deck shook as a blast hit nearby. The base's shield generators flickered. Nakamura shouted, "Captain, we can't hold them off for long." Elena's eyes flashed with determination. "Then we won't hold them. We'll outsmart them. Transmit Helios's coordinates to the satellite." "Let's see if it still listens." "Captain, that's risky. It could overload." "Do it." Nakamura sent the signal. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, far above Saturn's rings, Helios awakened. Its surface glowed white-hot, brighter than a star, energy built within its core. Then a single beam erupted outward, slicing through the alien formation. 3 ships gone, and 4. The sky itself looked like it was burning. Human crews cheered. Hope returned. But something else happened, something no one expected. A new signal appeared on their scanners. Deep beyond the solar system, a massive energy surge. It was another Helios unit activating by itself. Then another, and another. Kessler's voice broke through the comms, half disbelief, half awe. They're all waking up. Across the void, humanity's forgotten weapons, hundreds of ancient sentinels, were coming online. One by one, they turned their sensors toward the stars. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "We didn't start this war," she whispered, "but someone made sure we'd finish it." The void outside lit up with silent fire as Helios unleashed another devastating shot. The aliens started to scatter, but far away, beyond the chaos. Something else stirred, something even the Helios system wasn't designed to face. Because deep within alien space, the Vrytek High Command had just activated their own ancient weapon. One older and darker than anything humanity had ever seen, the battle over Titan Base had ended in fire and silence. The alien fleet was gone, torn apart by humanity's forgotten weapons. But the stars didn't feel safe. They felt... Angry Captain Elena Ross stood on the bridge of the UN's Vengeance, watching the Helios satellites drift into new orbits. Dozens of them now circled the outer planets, their surfaces glowing faintly like eyes that never slept. Lieutenant Nakamura approached her console. "Captain, all Helios units are in defense mode. Earth is secure for now." Lena nodded, but her mind wasn't calm. "For now," she repeated. "The Vrytek won't stop after one defeat. They'll come back with something bigger." Nakamura frowned. "You think they have something like Helios?" Elena looked toward the stars. "They've been around longer than us. They must have something worse." Far across the galaxy, deep inside the Vrytek Dominion, the alien High Command gathered in a dark chamber. The room was carved from obsidian stone, illuminated only by blue fire. At the center stood Overlord Cathera, tall and fierce, his scaled armor shimmering under the light. A messenger knelt before him. "My lord, our fleets near Saturn have been destroyed. The humans. They have awakened ancient machines." Cathera's eyes narrowed. So the old legends were true. The humans carry the legacy of the first builders. Another commander spoke, voice trembling. "What are your orders, Overlord?" Cathera turned toward a massive wall where symbols pulsed with alien script. "We open the vault. We wake the obsidian crown." Gasps filled the room. The obsidian crown was not a weapon. It was a nightmare from their history. A living machine, half biological, half synthetic, built to end wars by consuming entire systems. It had not been used for 1,000 years. Cathera's voice was cold. "If the humans want war, we will give them extinction." Back on Titan Base, the human command center was alive with noise. Captain Ross's long-range scans show strange activity in Vrytek space. Massive energy buildup. Elena walked to the main display. Show me. A holographic map appeared, showing an expanding wave of energy, black and red, spreading from the Vraytech home system. Admiral Kessler appeared on screen, his face pale. Ross, we're picking up gravitational distortions across 6 sectors. Whatever they're activating, it's rewriting space itself. The lights on the Vengeance flickered. Helios satellites across the system began to pulse, their sensors turning toward the unknown energy. Nakamura swallowed. Captain, Helios units are responding automatically. They're forming a network, like they're preparing for something. Preparing for what? Elena asked quietly. War, he said. Hours later, deep in space near Jupiter's orbit, humanity's fleet assembled what was left of it. Hundreds of ships, old and new, floated in formation. At the center, the Vengeance waited, its hull repaired just enough to fight again. Kessler's voice echoed over the fleet channel. All units, this is humanity's last line. We don't retreat. We don't surrender. Whatever the VTech bring, we meet it head on. Lena looked at her crew. Every face was tired but determined. Even fear had burned away, replaced by something stronger, purpose. Then, the stars changed. The void rippled like water. From the distortion, something enormous emerged, black as night, shaped like a crown of thorns. It was alive, pulsing with dark energy. The obsidian crown. Its presence made sensors scream. Its gravity bent light. Small asteroids drifted toward it and shattered. Nakamura whispered, "It's not a ship. It's a world killer." Lena stared, feeling the weight of it in her chest. So this is their answer to Helios. The crown opened like a flower of darkness. Dozens of beams of red energy lanced outward, slicing through space. One hit a Helios satellite, and it vanished instantly. Helios units down. 4? Destroyed already? Elena clenched her fists. Get me firing control. Bring the railgun online. The railgun won't even dent that thing. Nakamura protested. Maybe not, she said, but it'll make them look at us. The Vengeance's railgun glowed blue again, the ship shaking under its charge. Target locked. Fire. The tungsten slug tore through the dark, slamming into the crown's surface. The explosion flared like a sun, but when the light faded, the alien weapon still stood. Barely scratched, Elena whispered, "It's learning." 10. A deep voice echoed through the fleet's comms, distorted. Alien, almost like the crown itself was speaking. Humanity. Your weapons are echoes. We are the storm that ends echoes. The crew went cold. It wasn't just a machine. It could think. Elena straightened her back. Then hear this, you storm. She opened all communication channels. Her voice echoed across the fleet. This is Captain Elena Ross of Earth. You fired first. But humanity doesn't vanish quietly. We fight until the stars go dark. For a second, even the void seemed to listen. Then, the Helios satellites flared brighter than ever before, connecting with energy lines of pure light. A web of defense formed around the solar system, glowing like a burning net across the sky. Kessler's voice broke through. Helios network online. Captain, they're responding to your broadcast. Elena's eyes widened. Then let's give them a target. The Vengeance turned toward the obsidian crown, engines roaring, shields blazing. Other ships followed, forming a spear of light charging into the darkness. Behind them, the Helios network focused its power, preparing a single, massive strike. The stars trembled. The void screamed. The next battle for humanity's survival had begun. The railgun strike had silenced the first wave of alien ships, but the war was far from over. Above the burning atmosphere, massive alien carriers emerged from hyperspace like shadows swallowing the stars. Their glowing hulls reflected the dying light of destroyed vessels. Humanity's victory at Luna's edge was just a spark end now. The storm was coming in Earth's command bunker, deep under Geneva. Commander Sarah Holt stood before a holographic map showing the entire Sol system. Red marker Xenomi fleets multiplied across the display. They're deploying in Formation Theta. It's not a retreat, she muttered, her jaw tightening. It's a full-scale retaliation. Captain Reyes stepped closer, his face illuminated by the flickering light of tactical screens. They're angry, Commander. We just proved humans can kill their ships. They want to erase that proof. The room went silent. Every officer knew the cost of being underestimated was gone. Humanity had proven dangerous, and that made them the enemy of an entire galactic empire. Send out the Iron Fleet, Sarah ordered. Every ship we have. Earth stands together now. Across the solar system, human ships powered up. Massive engines roared in the void, igniting the dark with lines of blue plasma. The ISS Valiant, Horizon, Solar Wrath, and hundreds of smaller vessels formed into a defensive sphere around Earth and Mars. Pride of the human navy, the ISS Titan took its position. At the center, it was the largest fleet humanity had ever built. And yet against the alien armada, it looked small like sparks before a storm. On the bridge of the Titan, Admiral Kane watched the approaching fleet. His gray eyes were steady, his voice calm. They come with thousands of ships, but we only need one good shot to remind them who we are. The crew smiled weakly. Everyone aboard knew the Admiral's words were more than bravado. Humanity's weapon, the Leviathan Railgun array, was being charged for one last strike. Its coils stretched across a space station orbiting Mars, glowing brighter with every passing second. Lieutenant Mira from engineering reported, Railgun at 86% charge. Power draw exceeding safe limits, Kane replied softly. We're beyond safety now. Push it to 100. Far away in the alien flagship Rhetoric. The warlord Zerekal watched the human defenses with disgust. His mandibles clicked. Primitive creatures. They build one powerful weapon and think they are gods. His advisor hissed, They destroyed the Vanguard fleet, my lord. Zerekal raised a clawed hand. And now they will learn what true war means. He turned toward the massive viewing screen, showing the blue planet below. Burn their world. Leave nothing breathing. Thousands of alien ships surged forward, unleashing plasma storms and energy lances. The blackness of space became a storm of fire. In orbit, the Titan shook violently. Alarms screamed. Shields down to 40%. Mira shouted. Kane's voice cut through the chaos. All ships fall into formation Omega. Protect the railgun array at all costs. Outside, smaller human ships moved like wolves protecting their den. They weaved between explosions, drawing alien fire away from the charging railgun. Every second mattered. On the Valiant, Captain Reyes gripped his chair. If that railgun doesn't fire soon, none of us will make it. Then by its time, his co-pilot growled, steering directly toward the enemy. Let's show them how humans fight. The Valiant dove into the alien line, firing rail slugs and missiles until its hull began to break apart. Reyes whispered as the ship exploded. For Earth. The blast tore through several alien cruisers. One small sacrifice, one massive hole in their formation. Back at the railgun station, power surged. The core glowed white-hot. Charge complete. Mira's voice trembled. Admiral, we're ready to fire. Kane's eyes hardened. Then let the universe remember this day. Fire the Leviathan. Coils unleashed their fury. A blinding beam of kinetic light tore across space. Time seemed to slow. The rails slug longer than a battleship moved, faster than any weapon ever built by human hands. It slammed into the center of the alien fleet. For one silent heartbeat, everything froze. Then the explosion came, a chain reaction of energy, debris, and death. Dozens of alien carriers vanished in an instant. The Titan's bridge erupted with cheers. Direct hit, someone yelled. Half their fleet is gone. But Kane didn't smile. He knew what came next. They'll keep coming, he murmured. They always do. As the railgun's power faded, new contacts appeared on Sensor's fresh fleets warping in. More than before? Hundreds more, Admiral, Mira whispered. We can't fight that. Kane turned toward her, his voice calm and steady. We can fight anything. As long as we're human, He opened a secure channel to all ships. "This is Admiral Kane. We've made our mark today. They thought we were weak. They thought humanity would kneel. But even if this fleet falls, Earth will remember our will is made of iron." Sighed, the stars burned with the light of battle. Alien and human ships collided in a final storm of fire. Humanity had unleashed the railgun. The universe had taken notice, and the war was far from over. The stars above Earth burned red. Alien wrecks drifted in silence, glowing with dying fire. While thousands of new enemy ships emerged from hyperspace like a rising tide, the sky itself seemed to darken under their numbers. Humanity's greatest victory had lasted only minutes. Now came the reckoning. Deep beneath Geneva Command, alarms blared and lights flickered. Commander Sarah Holt stood before the holographic map, her throat dry. Red markers swarmed across every orbit line. "How many?" she whispered. "Too many," replied her tactical officer. "Over 3,000 ships. They're converging on Earth." Sarah stared at the display. "Then this is it. The last stand of Earth." She pressed her comms badge. "All fleet channels, this is Commander Holt. The enemy wants our home. We give them nothing. Every ship, every soldier, every ounce of courage, we hold this line." Across space, every human vessel received her transmission. Pilots tightened their grips on controls. Captains straightened in their chairs. From the Martian outposts to Luna Base, humanity's defenders prepared to face the impossible. On the ISS Titan, Admiral Kane stood silently, his eyes fixed on the planet below. The blue ocean shimmered in the distance, calm and unaware of the chaos above. He turned to his crew. "You all know what's coming. But I'll say this, once history is watching. When they speak of this day, let them say Earth did not bow." A murmur of pride filled the bridge. No one spoke of fear, only resolve. Lieutenant Mira's hands flew across her console. "Sir, the railgun's cooling systems are gone. We can't charge it again without melting the core." Kane smiled faintly. "Then we'll make one last shot count." The alien flagship Rhetoric advanced, at its shadow blocking the light of the sun. Warlord Zirkul watched with satisfaction. "End this world," he ordered, from the alien fleet. Beams of plasma and energy lances erupted, raining destruction upon the defenders. Human ships flared one by one, but even as they burned, they kept fighting. The Solar Wrath rammed straight into a destroyer, tearing both ships apart. The Horizon sacrificed its engines to protect a civilian evacuation convoy, and the Titan, scarred, battered, and smoking, stayed in the center, refusing to fall back. In the command center, Sarah's voice came through every speaker. "Humanity is not just one world. We are billions of hearts beating as one. If we die today, we die standing." Her words echoed across the fleet. Even the wounded ships answered with defiance, launching their last missiles, firing their railguns until the barrels glowed. Then, from Mars orbit, the Leviathan railgun array began to hum again. Engineers had bypassed the safety locks. The coils turned white-hot, shaking violently. "Admiral," Mira shouted, "it can't handle the charge. The core will explode." Kane's voice was calm. "Then we aim it at their heart." He sent one final message to Earth Command. "This is the Titan. We'll open the gate. The rest of you, make it count." The Titan moved between the Leviathan and the alien armada, shielding the station from incoming fire. Enemy plasma rained down, tearing through armor. The ship shuddered, its hull glowing from heat. Mira wiped blood from her forehead. "We're breaking apart." Kane gripped the console. "Hold it together, Lieutenant." "We're almost there." At 100% charge, the Leviathan blazed like a newborn star. Then it fired one last time. A beam of white light sliced through the void, hitting the alien flagship Rhetoric. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then a blinding explosion engulfed half the enemy fleet. The shockwave rippled through space, tearing ships apart like paper. When the light faded, silence followed. Half the sky was gone. The Titan drifted in the debris field. Its systems dead, its crew watching the glow fade away. Mira's voice trembled. "We did it." Kane smiled faintly. Not all of it, but enough. In Geneva, cheers erupted. The alien fleet was retreating. Burned and broken, their command destroyed, they pulled back beyond the moon's shadow. Humanity had survived barely. Sarah Holt stood among the stunned officers. "Get me a line to the Titan," Static answered. After several attempts, a faint voice came through. It was Mira, Commander Holt. The Titan held the line. Admiral Kane stayed on the bridge. He didn't make it. Sarah closed her eyes. He saved us all. Mira's voice broke slightly. He said, "Tell Earth the sky is ours again." Days later, the smoke of war faded. The world mourned its heroes. Above Earth, wrecked ships formed a silent ring, a graveyard and a monument. But humanity did not fall into despair. Instead, it rebuilt. Faster, stronger, united like never before. At the edge of the solar system, new stations rose. The Leviathan, too, began construction. Humanity had learned the truth. They were no longer alone, and never again would they be unarmed. In the cold, dark beyond, alien survivors watched from afar. One of them whispered in fear, "They call themselves humans, but they fight like gods." And somewhere in the quiet remains of the Titan, a message beacon blinked, Admiral Kane's final words recorded for all time, if they ever come again. "Remind them what happens when they fire first.